going on, guys? Today I'm going to be showing you my new project car. All right, guys, so here it is, 1998 BMW Z3, and this has the 2.8 liter M52 engine, actually the same engine as my E46 here. It is the all-time best car color, which is white. It does have a little bit of a red interior, which I didn't think I was gonna like, but it's not too bright and it's not everywhere, so I don't mind it too much. It is, of course, a 5-speed manual. There's no way I'd be buying an automatic. Generally speaking, a super clean car. The paint is in pretty good shape. It definitely could use a polish in some spots. The hood was replaced within the past few years, so that's actually a pretty fresh paint job on the hood. When you get around here to the passenger side, you'll see there's a few scuffs and scratches. No major dents though. You can see this really just needs polished up, I think, pretty good. It's like the white is a little dull on the trunk and on the doors. And the worst spot is probably the rear bumper. Still nothing major. It could just probably use a respray at some point. And the car is completely stock as far as I know. I know it's had a new radiator and hoses and also an alternator within the last few years. It does have 174,000 miles on it, but for that, honestly, it's in really great shape. It's definitely been well taken care of, and the engine feels very strong. It feels a lot faster than my E46. Those few hundred pounds really make a difference. Also, I want to mention I paid $4,000 for the car. A lot of people are always interested in costs and budget. So I'm also going to try to be very open with the costs of all the modifications I do to the car. So you might be wondering why a Z3, especially after coming from the Mustang. So I've been wanting to build a small car for a long time. Actually, when I bought the Mustang, I was looking for small cars, but it just so happened that I found this wrecked for cheap in a junkyard. So, you know, I just went with it. But now I'm ready to do a small car. I want to do something that can handle pretty well and is lighter, so you don't need quite as much power to go pretty fast. And as far as small, light cars go, there really isn't that many options. You know, of course there's Miata, but I just can't get into a Miata. I mean, it's just been so played out, and it just really seems like a child's car. No offense to anyone out there. They can definitely be cool. But I mean, for what they are, a clean one is pretty expensive. I've always had a Z3 and also a Z4 in my head. Being that my budget was like no more than $5,000, it's gonna be pretty tough to get a Z4 for that. It's gonna be in really bad shape and it's gonna need a lot of work. So the Z3 seemed like a better option. And there's still not that many out there. I ended up driving 2 hours to get this one. But yeah, after looking at it, I was like, this is way cleaner than I even thought it was gonna be. So he was asking 45 and we agreed on 4, which I think was actually a pretty good steal. It's definitely a little higher mileage than other ones out there, but it's so much cleaner that like, I don't really care that much about the mileage. I mean, the engine feels pretty strong. There's really zero rust on the car. So those are the two big things that really matter with older high mileage cars anyway. So of course I've got a few plans in my head for this car. I'm not gonna reveal them yet, but I'm thinking to do some pretty big stuff right away. After gaining a lot of knowledge and experience from the Mustang build, I feel like I have a lot better insight and direction as far as where I wanna take this build. But for today, it's gonna be pretty simple. I'm just gonna be cleaning this up. I really haven't done much at all to it yet since bringing it home. I also have a new radio to install because this still has the original, just has the cassette player and the radio doesn't even work. So I have a new Bluetooth radio over there I'm gonna be installing. I also got a new trunk carpet because it doesn't have any. I did order new floor mats because they're also missing. They're not here yet. So just a few little odds and ends things to make it a little nicer, a little more comfortable. And I do want to drive it for at least a few weeks before I start to tear into it. All right, so after all that effort to wire up the radio, I still had no sound coming out of my speakers. So I took a look at the amp, and after taking off some of the covers, I noticed there is this big component with some burn marks there. I think that might be a really big inductor, not completely sure. But that is probably the source of my issues, because if you have power to the radio and nothing coming from the speakers, it's probably an amp issue. So I'm going to order a new amp, and then I should be good with that. I also got the interior cleaned up pretty nice. It really wasn't that bad to begin with, but now it's nice and clean. And I also got my carpet in the trunk. So brand new carpet, that looks pretty nice. I do have those wires out because that is where the amp goes. So let me know what you guys think about the new car. I have a few ideas as to what I want to start off with, but I'd like to hear your ideas as well.